Yo, what's going on, everybody? Gabriel Santos here. And today's video, I'm going to talk about secretly wanting to feel like shit, right? And what I mean by this is if you're someone who wants to make a change in your life, has been wanting to make a positive change in your life for years, right? Or maybe months, but you're unable to make a permanent, sustainable shift. And what I mean by that is maybe you're familiar with this process, right? You'll be in a place in your life that you're not happy with, and you'll decide to make a change, right? And so for a day, 2 days, a week, a month, 2 months, maybe even a little longer, you have a stretch of fantastic living, right? You are happy, things are going the way you want them to go, you are moving towards your goals and things like that. And then a day comes where everything seems to go backwards, and you take your foot off the gas, you miss a workout, and then it's 2 workouts, you have a Jack in the Box, and then it's 7 Jack in the Boxes, you smoke some weed, and now you're doing wake and bakes, and all of a sudden, instead of pursuing productivity or self-care, your day is back to what it was before you decided to change, which was a life you didn't like. And some people might call that self-sabotage, of which it certainly is. But I want to share a perspective that might help you understand self-sabotage a little more in detail. All right. So, and I'm going to share an example from my life with you. So, not, 2 months ago, 3 months ago, let me take even a step back. So if you guys recall, for a year, I really didn't post, right? I posted a lot in 2018, 2019, not so much. I know I did weed free in 2019, but I didn't really post a lot. And basically there were pockets of time where I was really sad and depressed and not doing my thing. Right? And my life was filled with junk food and stagnancy, meaning I was not moving a lot. I was staying still a lot. And I was just low energy in general, very negative, a lot of self-judgment, a lot of shame, a lot of guilt, a lot of sadness, and things like that, and not a lot of happiness. And the way I was dealing with that was, binge pleasures. I was video games, food, music, sugar, movies, masturbation, marijuana, obviously, right? And in my years in the past, that's not the only time I've gone through periods like that. And it took me a while to make a major shift. And the reason is because I noticed that, if I lived a life of self-loathing and complacency and laziness for an extended period of time, like let's say I was super lazy and shitty for a year, right? When I would try and change, it would literally not resonate with me to do positive things, to make healthy choices, to be happy. My body, my life, my energy, right? My aura, I guess, if you want to go that way, it resonated with crappiness, and it felt good, but it's not like it felt good like, oh my God, I like this feeling. It's more like that's where I was comfortable. That's where my emotional baseline was set, right? Because if you're someone who is depressed a lot, or has self-loathing a lot, or has years of chronic, negativity, that is where a person will like to live emotionally. And anything too far above that is gonna feel not really sustainable and really not even comfortable, because people do find comfort in their sadness. They find comfort in their wounds. They find comfort in their what's wrong with them, right? And so, it's almost like on a subconscious level, we're afraid to be healed, because, well, what about my sadness? What about my identity of being a failure? What happens to that? And For some people, myself included, we create an identity of failure so that we don't have to risk. We don't have to risk the pain of when we don't get what we want. And we also don't have to take responsibility for achieving things that we desire. And so it's like, oh, I'm a failure. And I'm a failure. And of course, we're not thinking these things consciously. None of us are writing in our journal, dear journal, I am so happy to be a failure today. Goals achieved. I'm failing. Yay. No, none of us are doing that. But on a subconscious emotional level, I believe there's definitely, these patterns that we build in ourselves unknowingly, and they will run the show if you're not aware of them. Because it just makes a lot of sense. Like, take for example, if you've broken up with someone, or you've been broken up with rather, when you're sad, man, and you're heartbroken, all you really want to do is sleep, cry, eat junk food, and numb yourself, right? But then eventually it gets to a point where you're sick of that, and your mindset is, fuck the person that broke up with me, and you decide to do something with it, okay? That story was kind of irrelevant, but my point is that, actually, X that story. Go back to what I was saying before. If you're someone who has gone through cycles where you try and change, but you always fail, I can almost guarantee you have a mindset and an identity that you always fail whenever you try certain things. And it gets to a point where, and my heart goes out to you, because, that sucks, right? And that can be a very self-defeating thing, to fail to like a lot and a lot and a lot. But then it gets to a point where a person will just start to believe like, oh crap, I'm a failure. And it's on a subconscious level. And then they start to create identities around that. They start to create defense mechanisms. One being, believe it or not, if someone is convinced that they're a failure on a subconscious level, they are going to find a way to fuck themselves over. So I guess the practical question is, well, how do I stop doing that? How do I stop secretly wanting to fail and feel like crap and F myself over every time I time to change? I would say the first thing is to be aware of this phenomenon. Be aware of the fact that on a subconscious level, on a nervous system level, you've accidentally trained yourself into feeling like a failure, self-sabotaging yourself, and you've accidentally trained yourself to believe that happiness and success is not something that you can sustain and have and enjoy, because you deserve that, because you can have that. No one is holding that hostage from you, right? There's a book by A Man's Search for Meaning, super popular book in the personal development world, right? Tony Robbins, for those of you who know Tony Robbins, highly recommends that book. Elliot Holmes, for those of you who know Elliot Holmes, highly recommends this book. And the gist of this book is, it's a book about a man who survived the Holocaust. And long story short, spoiler alert, this guy who, like every other person who was a victim of the Holocaust at that time, had everything stripped away from them. Not only their material things, but their family and also their personal rights, right? They had nothing. They were slaves. They were treated like animals. And what this man in this book discovered was that regardless of the circumstances, right? The worst circumstances a human being could probably possibly ever be in, he was able to find happiness. But it wasn't because of his external environment. He was able to find it from within. And he realized that being happy is a choice. It's not something that I'm subject to because of what's happening to me. And so this may be a concept that is foreign to you. I know that we're not taught this in school. We're not taught that we're in control of our emotions. And it's even it's kind of scary to even take on that reality, because what does that mean? Oh, well, if the world is not responsible for how I feel, does that mean that I'm responsible? Oh, no. We don't want to do that. But guess what, okay? Once you get over this idea that being responsible is a crappy thing, and I get it, I've been there, okay? The reality is all your power comes from the fact that you have control, that you have responsibility. It's in your hands. And if the word responsibility doesn't resonate with you, change the word. You have the power. You have the control. It's in your hands. You are empowered. So again, what's the next step? So after you're aware, once you're aware of this process, okay? My advice, and this is something that I did and I do, is you audit your life from top to bottom. What are the things in your space that contribute to your shitty feelings? Get rid of them. Is it the trash that you haven't picked up? Get rid of that shit. Is it the fast food that you've been eating every day for years? Stop. Decrease that bullshit. Eat a broccoli one time. Drink some water. Is it your friends? Are they really your friends, or are they anchors for your shitty feelings? For your feelings of not being enough? Whatever it is, audit it. Whatever fucking makes you feel like shit, get rid of it. And as you get rid of things that make you feel like shit, like for real, get rid of them. Start with, and this is something you can actually do, see, feel, and touch. Go to your room. Get rid of shit that's not fucking helping you. Get rid of shit that you've carried in your life for years. For example, oh my God, I remember every time I would move houses, I would carry around this box of crap that I never even use. It's just box of crap. And the thought there is like, well, I might need it someday. It's been 17 years, never needed it once. Right? And that might seem trivial, right? Like a box of random stuff. Like, how is that important? Get rid of shit that serves no purpose. You'll be freed up emotionally, mentally, spiritually. I promise you. I promise you. All right? And so go from there. Shed the bullshit from your life one by one. And make sure that it's not just stuff on the outside world. You got to check in. If anything, the most important place you got to shed bullshit, it's within you, right? I'm talking about the thoughts that you have that are bullshit. Stop. Not that you can't have shitty thoughts, but my advice to you in that case is to meditate. Okay, the practice of meditation is not just you being like, Om. The practice of meditation is to not be controlled by your thoughts and the emotions tied by those thoughts. Okay, that's why people highly recommend meditation when it comes to weed addiction or porn addiction. It's because cravings are just thoughts and emotions. Do you realize that? They're just thoughts and emotions. Just thoughts and emotions. Yet these thoughts and emotions have control of you, right? But in the same way, the only way you're going to get yourself to do anything really successful, right, is to control your thoughts and emotions. All right? So if the cravings are more powerful than your ability to direct your own body, mind, and soul, then of course, that's got to change. I don't care if you like weed. I don't care if it's fun for you. If it's taking more than it gives, it's not good for you, at least in this moment. Okay? And that goes for anything. If you're eating too much pizza and it takes more than it gives, cut that shit down. If you have friends that take more than they give, cut that shit down. Okay? Make yourself a priority. Make your mental health a priority. Make your happiness a priority. Okay? And I don't mean like binge pleasure happiness. I mean like actually positive mental health, positive emotional stability, happy. You deserve that so bad. All right, but the only person that can ensure that you can have a solid mental health is you. And that's kind of the big pill to swallow here, folks. No one else is coming. No personal development seminar is going to save you. No book's going to save you. No friends or family is going to save you. They can all tell you great things. They can teach you things. They can steer you in the right direction. But the only way you're going to have a life that you really enjoy is if you decide that you are going to be the one who makes that happen for yourself. It's not going to happen any other way. How can it? That might sound scary, right? Like, oh my God, I have to do it all on my own. I promise. As you step forward every day and make small shifts, right? Get rid of one crappy thing today. Just one. And you'll realize how good it feels, and you'll want to do it more and more and more, okay? And at the same time, if things start to go shit again, my final piece of advice here is to not judge yourself and just be aware, like, oh man, here I am doing this thing where I, decide that my happiness is not important, and that comfort and mindless consumption of pleasure is better. It's not. That's a trick. It's a trap. It's not. Believe it or not, you actually really want challenges and adversity in your life. Believe it or not. And it's not that you want the stress. You want the growth. You want the ability to overcome obstacles. Really, though. Because that makes you a stronger person. And I can only imagine that the fruits of life only become more and more as you grow and overcome challenges. So whatever challenge is in your life, maybe you've been dealing with it for years. You can do it, man, but you have to stop. Stop pretending like you can't do it. Stop pretending like you know exactly what you need to do. All right. I know this video ran long. I passionate. The passion runs through sometimes, right? I appreciate you all, especially if you got to the end of this video. And yeah, I'll see you guys next time. Peace.